What is up, mofos? JJ back here with Holden talking NFL. Little betting preview for week 4. Coming off a good week here, Holden. We hit both our best bets last week. I hit under 42.5 when I gave it out here in the Bucks game. And then you hit the Eckler receiving prop, in like the first quarter?
Legit first 5 minutes. First 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, I mean, is there ever a better non-sweat to a bet?
It was so nice. And then I just kept doubling up the whole game, just in-game betting, just like, okay, they set the line too low. Boom, let's go again.
That's what the thing. Yeah, they adjusted based on the live pregame. It's not like they have people in there like looking at a game and being like, okay, well, wow, they're really letting Eckler hang around the middle. Let's manually adjust this. No, they just keep everything math line based. And it was really fun. Really fun to win bets like that.
You know, the best tip that I've gotten this year was from you. It's like, go at halftime, start looking at the quarterback rush props. And I think I'm 4-1 right now since I've been doing. That was you that said that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
if your team is down a lot, I think that the assumption is that your quarterback's going to throw a lot, but the actual reality is that teams play a lot more prevent-esque defenses, which leave these like 10, 15-yard holes for quarterbacks to just squeak out. If you're in a market where you can live bet props, typically rushing yards in the second halves of games, if teams are trailing by a lot and they're forced to throw, it actually opens up a lot of windows to run for especially semi-mobile quarterbacks.
Which is why Lamar Jackson, when he was going up against Kansas City, they're getting blown out. He had 41 yards at halftime. They set the line at 62.5. You can find these deals all over the place. It's tough. You're searching. There's a lot of different things, but there's a lot of deals to be made, and we got a lot of good games today, man. I'm looking forward to this, and thank God, we got the Saints. They're still on the board, so we can still bet the Saints on that side. We had a freak out last night. I thought my DFS lineups were screwed, and I stayed up to 4 for no reason. So wonderful.
See, at least Mark comes in here. He drops the social, drops the non-erect penis size, and that's all we ask from you guys, right? Because we just need it for archival purposes. Okay, flatulated, not. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just drop the comments in. Wait, what's up?
I never tried to do the flaccid thing. It's just like, that doesn't matter, does it? Like, you don't tell anybody that. Obviously you're into that, which is great because you take a different angle on everything. But the flaccid thing just isn't doing it for me. I don't even want to look at it.
To each his own. To each his own.
Let's make some shmoney, buddy. Let's do it.
What's up, Brandon Diego?
All right, let's get going here. So they moved this game to the 4 o'clock, but I want to get to it first anyways because it's up on the board first. It's Indianapolis at Chicago, and this a while ago started as a pick'em, and now it's Indianapolis -3, despite the fact that Foles is out there. The Colts defense, week 1 it was garbage. They've bounced back since. Total's 43. JJ, I know you like the total at 45. That's going to make you happy.
Yeah, so this is actually still going to be my best bet for this video. It's nice to start this off with the first one, right? So under 43 here is the play. Now, I gave out 45 much earlier in the week, I think Tuesday on, in our sheet and on our Discord. Here's the thing. So I'm not a big, I know a lot of people like to consider themselves Foles guys, right? And Foles is a lot better than Trubisky, supposedly. So I watched the game, right, last week. And sure, it's 1 game sample, but this might sound like a crazy hot take, but I truly believe that Mitch Trubisky was the best quarterback on that field for that game. Now,
what?
So what happened was, so you got to hear me out, Holden. You got to hear me out.
I am. That was just somebody hits you in the stomach, you go, ugh. That was my ugh.
So Mitch Trubisky missed a few throws in the first half, nothing crazy. It just seemed like the second half, it just seemed like the game plan going in was, hey, look, if we can't successfully move the ball on offense, Mitch, you're going to have one more shot in the second half. So he throws a bad pick in the second half. Now, Foles begins his first drive with a pick, and then subsequently has 3 interceptions dropped on him in that second half. Now, people so you look at the game. So there's 7 minutes left in the game. This team is still down 3 touchdowns with 7 minutes left, or about 17 with 7 minutes left. And then just this Foles, I'll call it Tim Tebow type magic happens where the Falcons go into this ridiculous prevent defense and Foles just continues to find holes over the middle, random missed tackles. It wasn't okay, fine. Maybe he had a few good throws, but it wasn't this absolute show from Foles to win the game. Like, he got to play this Atlanta defense, which was in a borderline prevent for the whole third quarter, and couldn't really move the ball with success. And then again, the fourth quarter comes, you get some magic. Now, what I saw from Trubisky, I didn't mind either. Their run game was terrible. He was in third and longs that entire first half. So I don't, and then in the second half, they gave Foles the ability to throw on all three downs. So for me, like, and then Matt Ryan is just terrible. Like, the dude, and now granted, I get it. No Julio. But he just, you see this, I've seen this with him this year. Like, he's just making a lot of bad decisions with the football. Now, granted, he's always going to get the Matt Ryan effect, the Matt Ryan credit. But look, I get it. His defense doesn't do him any favors. But that day, I truly believe, I mean, the numbers aren't going to prove it to you in the box scores, especially if you didn't watch the game. But I like Trubisky the most out of all three of those quarterbacks. Now, going into this game, Foles, so here's the thing. Foles is really not mobile, like, at all. Now, Trubisky at least is a little mobile. They just don't use it to his advantage as much. He's going to see a good defense from this Colts squad here. And now Rivers, same thing, kind of going to see a good defense. And Rivers just becomes a turnover machine of sorts. And Holden, you already know my thoughts on Jonathan Taylor. So I just think this is a game that's going to play out in like quicksand for most of it. Maybe like 20, 30 yards here, punt, 20, 30 yards here, punt, field goal. Probably not going to be a lot of big plays. So ultimately, this is going to be your kind of game that plays in between the 40s, if you will. And that's why I really like the under. Now, I like it at 45, but I still like it at 43 because I have it actually down 41.5. So happy to take 43 as well. So this will be my best bet for this game in one that more or less plays out in quicksand.
I mean, you're going 43, so you felt really good about this at 45.
Yeah, really good.
Wow. That's great. Terrific. I feel good about tailing you on that one then, because there's certain games, you just look at it first and go, oh gosh, this is just going to be super ugly. And I'm still not thinking that Phillip Rivers is going to be able to move the ball today, right? Why is Phillip Rivers going to be able to do that at this point? He's captain check down, right? He likes his tight ends. He likes dumping down to his running backs. I don't see a big scoring game either. That 43 would scare the hell out of me, but that's what betting unders does to you, I guess. But JJ, all in on this one. New Orleans, Detroit, false positive in this game for one of the Saints players. So they're going to play. It's New Orleans -3. I'm seeing -2.5 at Circa right now. That's pretty good on the road. And then the total is 54. Can you see the Lions winning this outright?
So here's what I would see. The Lions, I think we mentioned this last week in the show, Holden. The Lions under Patricia have been a tremendous first half team. Well, maybe not tremendous, but they've been so much better in the first half versus the second half. Okay. So what would not surprise me would be Lions come out, grab a lead in the first half. Maybe a good game script, from Patricia or Stafford. They look good in the first half. While Breeze tries to figure it out without Cook. And maybe they just overfeed Kamara, or Lions sell out to stop Kamara. Either way. What I do think, though, for this game is I think that everybody saw Drew Brees' quote-unquote noodle arm on, was it Sunday night or Monday night? And it almost just seems like if you watch the game, Holden, like, it almost just seems like he's just afraid to throw to his receivers that he doesn't trust deep. So normally he has no problems throwing to like Traquan when he knows Michael Thomas is eating up 3 defenders over the middle of the field. But so I think they're going to look back at that tape and be like, look, Drew, just throw the football. Like, you saw him cock back like 6 or 7 different times in that game to, throw the ball. I don't know how far he can throw it these days, but 40, 50 yards. I think you see that today. I think the Lions are going to overcommit to stop these short passes. And I think that's going to open up some deep opportunities for this Saints offense with Traquan. Now, I don't know about Sanders. I'm not sure on his speed. But Traquan, you would figure, should be the guy that's going to be roaming deep for opportunities. So interesting to see how that goes. I can't imagine a world where Drew Brees continues to gather all these stats from yards after catch with Kamara and these other guys. But either way, I just think everybody's down on Brees, and ultimately, I think they take a few shots downfield today. I think Payne will see what the tape shows, and they take a few shots to get it. And ultimately, who wins this game? I think it'll be close. I think the line's correct. I just think I would lean Detroit first half, and then I would lean the Saints after that.
Interesting call. I like it. Jacksonville, Cincinnati. We got the over here. Total, I should say, 49.5, depending on where you want to go. Cincinnati is a 1.5 point favorite at this point. I'll throw out my pick. James Robinson, the Jaguars running back, they're just giving him the ball, and that's it. Maybe the snap rate wasn't great last week. They were playing, even when they're behind, though, they're dumping to him. 80.5 rushing, receiving yards. I love this prop. I feel really comfortable. If it doesn't work out, at least the thought behind it is 100%. So if you guys are in the prop market, I saw it down at like 78.5 on DraftKings, and it popped up to 83.5 on BetMGM. But that's my play right there. James Robinson. I got one other guy we'll give a little bit later on. But do you want anything to do with this game?
Yeah, so real quick, I'll just mention that I think that you're going to have two different, obviously, angles to look at this. You can look at this as I can't lay points with the Bengals, and I'll happily take anything you'll give me with Jacksonville. Or you can look at this as what I've seen from Cincinnati has proven to me that they're worth it when they do play a bad team to lay less than a field goal. Interesting enough, so Jacksonville quietly has a very good run defense, at least run yards allowed per play on the ground or per rush. And Joe Mixon just hasn't seemed to figure it out. Like, I know that like he might be like a highly touted DFS play today, and he may work out, but like, man, this dude's averaging like 3.5 yards a carry. Like, and he hasn't exactly played like all these like stellar run defenses. And it's not like they like really try to force feed him to like get him going. And he's not really in on any third downs. So I don't know what his rushing prop is right now. I think I saw it at 75.5 a few days ago. I don't know if it's still there, but I would probably strong lean under. Because again, like Jacksonville's done pretty well against good running backs who see volume. So, you know, I can't just assume that's going to stop today. And look, Burrow is what he is. He's been tremendous for them. Probably relying on him a little too much. But yeah, I think if you're going to talk value, probably makes more sense for Jacksonville. But you know, I could definitely see the Bengals side. Overall, I'm probably going to be off this game.
Yeah, I don't have a good feel besides for the prop. That'd be about it. Want to say just some shout outs to some people in the chat now. We got the perfect rotation. Oh, Maxwell Smart's in here. Of course, you're talking about Triple BJ. And then Witty B says the blind overs are 60%. Farrar, what's up? Millennium Goddess. Don't compare us to the Big T Mango thing. Come on, we're all buddies here. But yes, we're definitely the more handsome show. Perfect rotation. Mike Venter, what's up, everybody? And Maxwell Smart. I mean, geez, this guy. You guys gave me his own show. I don't know what you're doing, but it was interesting to go on it. I'll say that much. Probably do a lot more. Arizona, Carolina. So the line didn't move now that Hopkins is playing. JJ, does that surprise you a little bit? It's sitting at 3. The Cardinals 3-point favorites on the road. Total's 51.5. But I am a little surprised we haven't seen the line move. But is Hopkins worth anything? Is he worth a half a point?
So ultimately, typically what happens is you have a lot of people in the know in those lines, like typically people that just have an idea or better idea than your overall public over who's going to play, who's not going to play. I'm pretty sure that line was melted in there with Hopkins playing. I think if it was ruled that he wouldn't play, I think that line would have moved in opposite direction. But him playing, I don't really think that's going to matter much because I think that it was melted in that he was going to play. Now, as for this game, I mean, look, you know, I think your overall quote unquote chalky play will be the Cards. But man, like if you're only grabbing 3 with the Panthers, like, and I'm not I don't like to make quote unquote square-ish bets, but like at the end of the day, it's all about betting the number, right? So laying 3 with the Cards here just seems like a smash spot. I wouldn't want to lay 3.5, but laying 3 with them. I mean, the Panthers, no McCaffrey. I know Mike Davis has been like refreshing, but like. Yeah, I mean, you get Hopkins back. They're coming off a loss. Like, I know that here's the thing. We talked about this last week, Holden, like that 2-week sample, right? For a team, like everybody was like, oh my God, this Arizona team's got a shot to win the Super Bowl. But like, relax, it's only been 2 weeks. Like, so which version of Arizona is the version you trust? The version you saw weeks 1 and 2, or the version you saw last week where Kyler Murray's throwing 3 interceptions, 2 of which I had no idea who he was even trying to throw to. So what version of him do you get today? Now, this is a very bad Carolina defense. Who knows? Overall would be a lean Cardinals at the 3, just because I don't know how anybody could like really feel good about betting the Panthers. I know that like there's some people that just like to fade like the public per se, or fade the public bets. But you know, ultimately, I from a numbers angle, I don't know how you could bet the Panthers in this spot. So I would lean Cards.
Yeah, I just don't like. I think a lot of people are off the Cardinals maybe because of Murray's performance last week. He threw the 3 picks. And there should have been a 4th pick in there, but I'm still 100% in on this team. Mm-hmm. It's as simple as that. I'm not throwing in the towel. And I haven't seen enough improvement out of Carolina on either side of the ball to really consider them. So let's get into Jacksonville, Cincinnati. A couple of bad teams, but Cincinnati at least is, well, they weren't fun to watch last week, JJ. That was absolutely brutal. I had the total at 46, and they went to overtime with 46, and then they didn't score. I mean, it felt as bad as a loss. I'll just put it that way. Cincinnati 1.5 favorite at home. I mean, it's interesting that Cincinnati's a favorite, right? But Jacksonville, 49.5 is the total here. I really like what Cincinnati's done. I just have a hard time laying points with them. I don't like that.
Yeah. So we covered this game briefly a bit. I think ultimately you're going to bet this game. I think you're ultimately saying is Jacksonville, who I saw last week, or Cincinnati, because Cincinnati's played a few good games, do they now deserve to be a favorite? But ultimately, lean would be. I mean, actually, I don't like anything in this game, to be honest. I don't even like the total because I think this total's padded. So it's just going to be a fade spot for me.
Gross. It's gross. Total went up here. Cleveland at Dallas. Total was about 54. I mean, we're looking at 56. This thing just got hyped up. Everybody's excited about the Cowboys. I'm going to tell you why I'm leaning under here in a second, JJ. But 3.5, you can find it. Dallas 3.5-point favorites, 4-point favorites maybe. But I just see this being a completely – you have to come up and ask yourself, what is this game going to be like this week, right? I guess it's called game script. I don't think that Dak Prescott throws 50 times. I don't even think he throws 40 times this week. I think I got it in a prop. It was 39.5. I went under. If they should not fall down 14, 21 points. And if they're playing from ahead, we got a lot of Zeke Elliott. And if we get a lot of Zeke Elliott, the game's going to go slower. I'm not sold on this Browns offense doing too much. I like the under in this game. If you said, what's your confidence? I'd say probably 8 out of 10. I like the under in this game. What do you think?
Yeah, so a lot of high totals this week, right? So ultimately, this might make people more or less want to bet overall more unders, maybe because you got padded totals. But do realize, it is part and because of less penalties, and it's part and because of just seemingly fatigued defenses in the second half. But needless to say, there's some justification behind some of these totals being moved up. It's not like the books are just we're tired of losing money with overs. We're gonna bump these up. There's some legitimate justification for why these are moving up. Now this game in particular. So here's the thing with Dallas. This is Dallas is almost becoming like Coors Field, in baseball. This team gives up a ton of points in yards and scores a ton of points in yards. Here for Cleveland, decent spot for Baker. He's not gonna deal with too much up front. Odell, this could be a good potential spot for Odell. Obviously Landry, Chubb. But to your point, both teams want to run the football. So when you run the football, you really slow the game down. I think if this game plays out where it's close, both teams are going to want to run it. If one gets a big lead, the other one's really going to try to take the air out of the ball. You're right that the under does make sense, but these two teams can certainly put points up on the board and certainly have holes on defense. So I like the take, but overall, I don't love this game in any direction. Going to be a stay away spot for me, but definitely like the target on the under for you.
I think the under is pretty interesting there. Minnesota, Houston. So everybody's on Deshaun Watson this week in DFS. I think it's interesting because you can really, and this is why we do DFS bets and DFS shows. You do one on Friday night. I do one on Wednesday. And, the reason for that is because we're looking at individual players. And when a quarterback pops, that really says a lot. It's the most important position on that side of the football. And if you're buying into the Texans offense this week, which I'm still a little shaky on, but Minnesota's defense is disgusting. The totals here is 53.5. And Houston's 3.5-point favorites at home. So you got to ask yourself, is Minnesota's this bad? I see Dalvin Cook having a monster game, but can Minnesota stop this Texans offense? Where are you on that, JJ?
Yeah. So again, I think we kind of have an idea of how good or bad Minnesota is. I think we know that they have a semi-potent offense. Justin Jefferson was a huge uplift for them last week. Interested to see if he can bounce back and have a similar type performance today, be that quote-unquote Diggs replacement. But defensively, we also know what they are, right? They're pretty bad. If Minnesota's going to win games, they're probably going to be winning games in the high 20s, low 30s, if they're going to be winning games, at least early on. Ton of injuries on that defense, and they just give up a ton of big plays. I can't assume that just stops here. Now, the problem with me trying to truly figure out Houston is, we said this last week. So they play, the Ravens, the Chiefs, and then they go against the Steelers. So it's how good or bad are they? They put up decent yardage and points against the Steelers. And now they get this really soft defense. So, you would figure they should be able to. This should be like a hot knife through butter with their offense today, based on who they have had to play the first 3 weeks. But look, I mean, I know there's people that aren't true Watson truthers. They don't like him in terms of like he's a guy that pads on a lot of garbage time stats. But regardless, like he should be throwing into big windows today. Fuller should be able to find himself open multiple times. David Johnson, I think this game's got some fantasy gold to it. I'll tell you this: in survivor leagues where I didn't read, where you don't have to buy, where you can rebuy in, still up to this week, I picked the Texans. There's no spot I'm going to be able to pick them all year. And I don't want to waste a spot on the Rams or Ravens this week, especially if it's a rebuy. So yeah, I do think the Texans get their first win today. I don't like the number. Maybe you can adjust it at 2.5 at a little higher vig, but I don't love the number, but I do like Houston to grab their first win today.
All right. Very good. I like that. I like the conviction. Seattle at Miami. This is the upset special for a lot of people. And the line moved from 6.5 down to 5.5 point favorites for Seattle. Miami and Seattle total 55.5, JJ. So basically, if you think that Miami's going to win, you think that it's Russell Wilson just carrying the show again, and the defense is so bad that Ryan Fitzpatrick is just going to tear them up, and they're going to win that way. And if you think Seattle's going to win, they're just going to put up 90 points again, and there's no way Miami could stay within it. Do you have a lean on this game? Because I am in a full fade.
Yeah, so talk about fantasy gold. I mean, I know I mentioned the Cowboys before. The Seahawks have been absolute fantasy gold. I mean, on offense, on defense, because of all the yards they give up and points they give up and the pace they play and how often they throw. They're just a monster from a fantasy perspective. So this game in particular, so the bet I actually like would be the Dolphins team total. I think it's going to be, just trying to say, I guess it's got to be like 24.5-ish, 25.5.
Dolphins?
26.5?
Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah, I'm thinking, well, actually, no, it'll probably be less. Probably be like,
hold on, if it's 53, it's probably like 23, right?
23.5 should be, yeah. So I lean that over. So the thing is, like, here's the thing. Seattle has just been fantasy gold for this team. Does not get pressure on the quarterback. And we know with Fitzpatrick, right, when he's able to sit back in the pocket and throw, he can find guys open consistently. Their run game is below average, but ultimately this Seattle defense is cheeks. So I think that ultimately, look, you're going to get with the Seahawks. You're going to get Russell Wilson doing what he wants, and now they play one of the worst defenses in the NFL. So the Seahawks should be able to pile on points. I mean, here's the thing: I do overall like this game over. It's just these totals are just so inflated. But how do you not project Seattle to score 4 touchdowns today? It would have to be something like the Metcalf thing, right? Where Metcalf is just like on the 1 yard line, letting the ball go again.
Yep.
Because the Seattle's played 3 better defenses, and now they play Miami, who they should be able to just score on, right? So ultimately, overall, lean the Dolphins team total, lean the game over.
Really,
I know that the Dolphins get a lot of hype. This week in particular. West Coast team travels east. It's a big number. It's kind of like your quote unquote lay down spot, right? Miami's it's tough to go into Miami in that heat. I don't know if Seattle's, that ultimately teams have seen this over the years. You go into that heat over the third, fourth quarter, fatigue settles in. But ultimately I lean the game over. That would be the play.
All right. Very good. I like it. But I'm still staying away from it. Chargers, Tampa Bay. Ooh, this is another one of those low totals, JJ. 42, and now the Bucks are getting getting 7 points here, -7. I'm seeing that -15, -20 a lot, which is interesting too. But this total came down. It's going to be Herbert running the show for the Chargers. We know the Chargers have 1.5 million defensive injuries. Tampa Bay's defense is just about it's been almost as good as anybody's this year. So I guess you're wondering, hey, how does this offense fare without Chris Godwin again? And we've seen him fine. I mean, they got Gronk a little bit more involved in the passing game last week. But this, to me, is a really, really low total. I don't like it at all.
Yeah. So for me, at this current number, lean total under. That would be my favorite bet from this game. So ultimately, when you look at a few different angles of this game, so the Bucs play the Panthers, total was like 47-48. And the Panthers are awful on defense, and a little more potent on offense. They had McCaffrey as well. I think the total was 47 actually. And then they open this one up at 45. So they're more or less implying that like the Chargers defense is only 2 points worse than the Panthers, and their offense apparently is, I guess, about the same, which I don't know if I agree with either. So I just don't think they adjusted it enough from that game. The Bucs have proven they play like elite defense, at least as far as this NFL season goes. Good defensive front. And here's what I saw with Tampa last week is they proved that with a big lead, they are very content to take the air out of the football. Let's get our win. Let's get our win and go home, boys. Let's hand the ball off 2 or 3 times and just try to move the ball downfield, take as much time off the clock. Let's keep Brady healthy. Let's just go home, get with a victory. Wouldn't surprise me if I saw this here. Now, there's multiple angles you could approach this. Like, I think if you truly believe Tampa's going to win, I don't think the 7's probably going to matter. Like, if Tampa goes up 2 touchdowns, like Herbert and like Tampa can just release those pass rushers, Herbert is going to like take this team back to help you backdoor cover. I don't know about that. So I think if you like Tampa like a lot in this game, I don't even think the 7.5 matters. You can alternate spread this. You could probably go 13.5, 14.5 at a much better price. And I think if you think it's going to be a close game late, like, yeah, I mean, you could bet the Chargers outright, but Tampa looks so good. And it's not just Brady, like that defense looks really good. Godwin, I don't think he matters much at all to the line. So to me, that doesn't mean much of anything. He's a good player, but I mean, not in my opinion, not somebody who moves the needle. But yeah, lean under for me. Wow. Even at the 42.5.
That is such a low number, man. But betting unders is no fun, but there's obviously a lot of money to be made there if you pick the right one. So let's get to this Baltimore-Washington game. I like this a lot more when I think it was 13. Didn't it open around 13 recently? Yeah. And now 14.5. I hate that hook. God. But I just feel like the Ravens are going to blow them out today. JJ, the total's 45. I mean, the Ravens could score 45. The front 7 is banged up. Chase Young's not feeling too good for Washington. Jackson's coming off that just embarrassment on Monday night, if we want to buy into the narrative as opposed to the numbers. But if you look at the numbers, Baltimore's just blowing everybody out before they played the Chiefs, just killing them. The hook is what's bothering me here, but should I be bothered about 14.5? What's the big difference between 14 and 14.5 in this game? How big?
Not worth what you'll end up paying for it in terms of buying the half point. So one I did like earlier in the week, and I gave this out in Discord. I didn't like say that I love this as like a conviction play, but so Lamar Jackson over 1.5 touchdown passes. It opened at -112. I think it's a little higher now. I think I saw -130 this morning, but on Friday night it was -112. It was one of the 4 props that I really liked from Friday night. So just a spot where I think if you're drawing up your game plan for the week, like Lamar Jackson's going to be down on himself, right? Ultimately, didn't throw well. I don't obviously know him personally. I don't know how he mentally gets through a game like that, but I think it's a good spot for Roman to really build his kid's confidence back up. Okay. And the best way to build that back up would be to let him throw a few touchdown passes. So I think when they get into the red zone, I think they're going to give him a few extra opportunities to land the ball through his arm in the end zone. And obviously there's always the potential for big plays. The Ravens are going to probably score 3 or 4 touchdowns today. So it's just going to be a matter of if it's through his arm. I do like that narrative or the angle part of it for him. As far as the number, it's a huge number. But here's the thing. And here's why I don't think the number matters in this game. I think you're either going to get a better version, like a much better version of Lamar versus inferior competition, where the Ravens probably win by like 30. Okay. Or you get like somehow a potent version of Washington's offense, which we haven't seen all year, by the way. And they can somehow keep up pace with the Ravens if this game is in the low 20s or whatever. So for me, and there's an interesting stat with the Ravens, like over the last year and a half or whatever, like they outscore the spread by like 2 touchdowns with teams with a losing record, something like that. So I don't think the number matters as much here, even though it's big. I think if you think the Ravens are going to win, they probably win by a lot more than this actually big number of 13 or 14. So, but ultimately, favorite prop from this game would be the Jackson over 1.5 touchdown passes prop.
Ooh, I like that. We got some breaking news here. We got a Monday Night Football doubleheader, and the games will be going on at the same time. This is from Schefter. We got Patriots Chiefs tomorrow night, 7:05 Eastern. Ooh, that's a 5 o'clock start out here. 4 o'clock on the West Coast. God, that's the only thing that sucks about living out here is that sometimes you miss the beginning of games. And then the Falcons Packers at 8:50 Eastern. So Patriots Chiefs 7:05, Falcons Packers 8:50. We had this big scare here with Cam Newton. We had a big scare last night with Alvin Kamara, and it looks like we're getting through it. So the doomsdayers, relax. We're getting through this season. I don't know how many games are we canceled. I don't know how many weeks they're going to have to tack on. We're getting through this season. It's just going to happen. The owners have too much at stake. And you damn well know, even if the Cowboys, all of them have COVID, Jerry Jones is still packing that stadium. So we got 22,000 out there today. I'm excited.
Filling it up.
Hey, good talk. Let me pick up the rest of it here because I asked you for the picks, and I guess I just say stupid shit. So anyway, the Giants and the Rams. Man, on paper, JJ, this just looks like a complete whitewash. The Rams by 13 at home. The total's between 48.5 and 49. Like, Jared Goff is just playing beautifully. Nobody's talking about this guy. He's not turning the ball over. They've gotten back to their offense from 2 years ago. They found a running back in Darrell Henderson that could do, a lot of what Gurley can do. They obviously need a little more in the passing game, but I love Henderson this week, and I love his anytime touchdown. I got him, I think it was maybe plus 105. That number's gone way down since. But, boy, the Rams look like they're in a good spot today. Is it fool's gold?
So you see this often in baseball. Team goes on a lengthy road trip, okay, come back home, and they just come out flat. Like, ultimately, I don't know if it's the old, like, oh, we just got through it. I don't know if there's a little bit of celebratory to it or if it's just a lackadaisical approach. They just come out flat. So I think that the Rams often a very emotional game with Buffalo, which was their second game in a row on the East Coast. And they've been doing a lot of traveling because they traveled back and forth in between weeks with both East Coast games. So this sometimes from a narrative perspective does have teams come out flat. Now, doesn't necessarily mean it will happen that way, but numbers wise, yeah, definitely a lot here backs the Rams analytically. But that is a tough number to lay, when I consider the human element to this game. This is not a game I like in any regard. I do think that, so when you see a total this low, ultimately it would have been better in favor of the Redskins. But so the Giants would need what? I think it's probably team totals like 14.5, 15.5. Wouldn't be crazy to think that they could go over that. But I do believe, obviously, the Rams should be able to move through this offense without issue. Defense without issue anyway. But big number here, obviously going to be one of your more popular teams in Survivor this week. But yeah, going to stay away from this game entirely. You would think the Rams wind up handling business here, but again, that narrative of a team off a lengthy road trip coming back home and being a little lax has been proven.
Okay, very good. So fade that. Where are we going here? Oh, so the New England Kansas City game is on, but it's tomorrow, so we can get to that in a second. I also want to say, guys, we're rolling through these really quick today. So if you want to get in the chat here and ask some questions, do it. Player props, game totals, everything about it. So let's do it. Let's do it. Yes, we are playing Pats and Chiefs tomorrow. Buffalo and Vegas. Man, this Buffalo team. Runaway freight train right now. Josh Allen just seems to be unstoppable. Vegas at home, totals 53. Buffalo 3-point favorite on the road. Man, and this is all over the place, JJ, because you get -10 at Westgate, -20 at BetMGM, -3.5 even at Circa Sports. You really got to shop for the best line in this game. But can Buffalo do this? Can they go on the road and take care of this?
So this might be one of the most fun games of the afternoon, the late afternoon anyway. A few interesting approaches here. So Buffalo, if they're as good as we all think they are, I mean, I've been talking them up a bit for the last few weeks here. This should be a game they win, I want to say easily, but at least fairly easily. The problem is that so Buffalo has this issue on defense. So this team has an elite defense, but they have this issue on defense where they typically give up a ton of yardage to the opponent's best offensive weapon. Okay, they did it week 1 with Jamison Crowder. I think he went for 100 and a touchdown. Week 2, Mike Gesicki goes for 100 yards and a touchdown, like 9 catches. Last week, like multiple Rams receivers go for 100 yards and a touchdown. So this week, Darren Waller, who should be a target machine this week. And I know that people are like, oh, well, New England shut him down, and like Buffalo, I'm sure will do the same. No, like Buffalo has struggled with mismatches, okay? Buffalo's either going to load the box, okay, to stop Jacobs, or they're going to double team Waller, and then Jacobs is going to just have free reign to run on first and second down. I think more or less they're going to end up loading the box a bit more for Jacobs, which is going to leave Waller with mismatches most of the game. It's going to be a matter of if Carr hits him for him. Now Oakland's missing a few receivers, which this is what I say all the time. Like, this stuff just doesn't matter. Like, to a line, like, sure, in fantasy it matters, but like to a line, it doesn't matter. Like, Oakland is missing legitimately 3 week 1 starters at wide receiver. Okay. And the news came out that whatever the Ruggs was like ruled out on Thursday. Line doesn't move at all. It doesn't matter. Like, these positions are all swappable. Okay. Only like the elites aren't. Now, like, for instance, if Waller was ruled out, I think that would have moved the line a bit. But I do think he just gets peppered with targets today. With that said, I think that ultimately the question for me is if you think Buffalo can contain Jacobs or Waller. I think Buffalo is going to be able to move the ball on offense with consistency. Now, this is a road game for Buffalo. Obviously, your East Coast team traveling west, right? The old adage there. But ultimately, yeah, it's tough to bet against Buffalo in this spot. I think that you might like the Raiders for XYZ reasons. But they're a tough team to back in this spot. But the Raiders looked good in their first, their lone home game before, or week 1 to come back. But ultimately, for me, I'd lean Buffalo to 2.5. I don't see that number anymore, though. So ultimately, in that case, I'd probably be off this game. I liked Waller's props, so they opened at 56.5 receiving. I don't know what they are now, but I know Friday night that was one of the leans I gave out in the Discord. What's up, Danny?
Is this premium or is this free?
It's a free show.
Free one. All right. So here, Stefan wants to know James Robinson total yards over 87.5. I just tell you, I had the number set at 90.5. I got in at 80.5 and 78.5. I don't know where you're finding that 87.5 is, but that's really high. I mean, you can go with that, but you got to shop. I can't imagine that the 80. I didn't even see 87.5 unless somebody just laid a ton of money on them. So try and shop around there. That's fine. I mean, if it was at 87.5, I'd at least have a lean toward it. I just feel so much better between 78 and 80.5. I just haven't seen anything that high. So don't worry about it. I wouldn't go. Again, I had it at 90.5. I still wouldn't feel that great at 87.5. I just see too many better numbers. I think even DraftKings last night, they put some heavy juice on it, like 124, but they had it at 78.5. Like, why would you not? That's 11 less yards. That's a ton. No, that's 9 less yards. That's a ton still. So that's my take on that. Guys, you got any questions, go for it. Hit it up. JJ's here for you, okay? I'll take care of a couple player props. You want to get into the games themselves. Hey, you want to talk about these games tomorrow? Because we do have we
got a little time. Then I want to give out some prize picks plays.
Why don't you give some prize picks plays out?
So guys, if you're watching this video, so prizepicks.com, they're a partner of ours. Really cool site. Like, check them out. So prizepicks.com, it's a cool site where it's basically player props mixing with daily fantasy sports. So like if you like betting player props, right? And if you like playing daily fantasy sports or season longs. So what the site basically has is every sport, okay? Like for instance, today in the NFL, you can go and check them out. You can pick player props for, you pick players' fantasy points for today. How many points you think they're going to score. And you can like more or less parlay them into paying out decent numbers. So you basically pick like 2 or 3 props you like. So maybe so for instance, I gave out on our site today. Let me just confirm. I gave out on our site today 3 props that I liked from Prize Picks. And they were all in the QB position. So if you go to prizepicks.com and you go to NFL, and then one of the tabs is QB. Okay. I gave out Drew Brees over 19 fantasy points. Okay. Joe Burrow under 21 fantasy points, and Matt Stafford over 19 fantasy points. Okay. So I did that as a 3-player flex play. You can do flex plays or power plays. Basically, flex plays lets you get 1 wrong. Okay. So if you pick 2 flex plays, you can get 1 wrong and get a little bit of money back. Okay. If you pick 3-player flex play, you can get, 2 right, 1 wrong, still get some money back. Or you could do a power play where it's like literally like a parlay. Like you have to get them all right, and they pay better odds. The markets move. So if you get numbers early, right, and you bet a lot of them over or whatever, when you go to refresh the screen, the numbers will then move slightly higher. Okay. It's legitimately a marketplace. Okay. The idea is get your numbers in early or whatever. Then you can, if the numbers are just enough, you can go the opposite side. But either way, it's really fun. If you sign up using our code PURE, PURE, you're going to get 100% match deposit bonus. up to $100, free $100 for you. So yeah, a real cool site. I mean, you're going to be hearing me talk about them often on our videos. And I truly believe, like, if you're somebody who enjoys fantasy sports in any regard, these markets are really inefficient, in my opinion, in terms of how you can make money from it. So, like I said, enjoy it, have fun. I mean, again, it's free $100. If you deposit 100 or whatever you don't deposit, they'll match it. But again, for me today, the 3 plays I'm on are from the quarterback position: Drew Brees over 19 fantasy points, Joe Burrow under 21 fantasy points, Matthew Stafford over 19 fantasy points. And again, guys, they have all sports, like whatever you bet. They legitimately have tennis, baseball, college football, everything. They have players from every sport every day. It's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay, so
I really like the Stafford call, by the way. I think, he's got Galladay back for second week. Galladay's feeling even better. They're going to have to pass. I really like that call.
So does this mean that you don't like the first two?
Yeah, they're just horrible. They're the worst things I've ever heard.
You're like, Drew Brees over 19. What are you, out of your mind?
No, I didn't mind the other two, but, the Burrow one I'm a little iffy on. But, you might have that. But
21's a big number.
They're settling for too many field goals, man. Like the Bengals got to get going here. It's ridiculous. They get all the way from the 20s to the 20s. They're great, but they get inside of there. It's not that great. But again, I really like your Stafford one, so that'll be the one that doesn't cover. DB wants to know Josh Allen over 276 passing yards. So he's gone like over 300. Then he threw over 400 against Miami, and he threw over 300 against the Rams last week. And most of that game was a blowout. I mean, that was like first half. They just blew him out. So that's a pretty high number, though, isn't it? Like at some point in time, Allen's not going to have the big day. How do you feel about their defense, JJ? How do you feel about the Raiders' pass defense?
It's cheeks. So I think that ultimately Allen will have the opportunity to throw for a lot of yards. I think that the question mark for me is they're also bad against. They're also not that good against the run. So like the Bills could go heavy run. I think they haven't done it. They haven't done it.
Yeah.
But look, it's a lot of yards. I think that ultimately, if you're going to bet that over, I think you have to assume the Raiders are going to keep pace. So, like in my opinion, if you're going to bet over Josh Allen's passing total, I'd almost prefer you bet over Derek Carr's passing total, if that makes any sense. Because because I think that Allen's not going to get there because he hits 3 bombs to begin the game, and they're up 21-0, and now he's got 250 yards in the second quarter. Like, he's going to get there probably because the team requires him to throw the ball to keep scoring because Oakland's keeping pace. This is just one of those games where Buffalo's going to want to get in there, get a win, and get out. I can't imagine, especially with the interesting things we've seen with Allen in terms of turnovers, I can't imagine they're going to want to really throw him heavy. With that said, though, he's been tossing it all over the field, but certain games have required him to do so, or at least he's been playing. Like, he played the Jets, Dolphins.
Yeah.
So, and then the Rams became a shootout. So, but either way, I would. I think if you're going to bet that, I'd prefer to bet the Carr over. But then Carr has no receivers, so real interesting.
Yeah, Renfro and Waller. I mean, and he'll probably dump down to Rashard a little bit. That's their three. That's the 3 guys they're rolling with today. So good luck. They're going to go all over Jacobs, just run. But if Allen starts putting up points, boom. That game plan is going to change pretty quick. Just want to know, when you said Josh Allen, I measured. I was here, and now I'm here. Very excited. Okay. How many points would you add to the Seattle teaser, asked Peter Scalia?
On what side? In terms of Seattle?
How many points would you add to Seattle for a teaser? So the Seattle side.
I mean, it's 6. I mean, you would just do it 6. I wouldn't do it any more than 6. Don't cross a 0. So
okay, good. Keg's in the house. He wants to know what skin products you use. I do use skin products. I've used them now for about 20 years, and they work. A little eye cream, little face cream. Throw it right here. It doesn't work too well because I got the turkey neck from looking down at the phone all the time, but that's about it.
I actually have a makeup artist airbrush me before I'm on.
Do you really? Is it your girl?
No, I mean, I just, it's like I pay her like $4,000 for the show, and she comes in and I fly her in and she airbrushes me.
Oh yeah.
Airbrushes me for this hour show with 80 viewers.
That's terrific. I don't know why I found that so funny. It was pretty funny though. Yeah, a lot of penis jokes on the show today. I mean,
we could talk Holden real quick on the last two games, then we could.
Let's do it. Chiefs, you want to do Chiefs and Patriots? Let's do it because this is all over the place. First of all, when we come to you, I want to know if you think this is going to affect anything. Second of all, who is it going to be? Stidham? A lot of places took this off the book. I think William Hill still has it, but most places it's off the book. And
what odds do you have at William Hill?
50 is the total. 11 is the side for the Chiefs. They're favored by 11.
Isn't that interesting, right? Like, so the people who aren't Cam Newton guys, I know like Big T hates him, and it's fine. But not hates him personally, just doesn't think he's a good quarterback. Maybe hates him personally too. I don't know. Probably. But either way, he's at least in the markets. The markets at least think he's 6 points better than Stidham. So, take that for what it's worth.
Isn't he? Or no? Or is Stidham just going to come in here and pull a Matt Castle and be good for a little bit?
It's tough to say, right? Because how do we really know? I know we've seen a very good version of Cam the first few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But look, we saw this last year, right? Was it Minnesota when Kirk Cousins got ruled out against the Chiefs?
Yes.
Like the marketplace went crazy, and like Minnesota almost won outright. They almost went outright, let alone cover the spread. So maybe you'll get some overreactions, but either way, tough to redo your whole game plan for a guy that's very mobile in 3 days, refigure that out. But yeah, ultimately probably be a stay off spot for me. But it is nice to see that my boy Cam is worth that much.
Very nice to see, huh? You love Cam. I like Cam too. I wouldn't say I love him, but I like him quite a bit. What was the other game? The Atlanta Green Bay game is what? That's the Monday night game. So we got Philly, San Francisco tonight. This line has really moved because it was at 7, and now it's at 9. So the Niners are 9-point favorites. Philadelphia, they've got another injury to their offensive line. Sanders has a glute injury. He'll go out and play. Wentz looks worse than I think I've ever seen him. He just looks completely lost. But, can you lay 9 points with Nick Mullins as your quarterback? I guess that's the big question, right? I think that the Niners defense is just going to crush tonight. What do you think?
So I've lost so much money betting the Eagles over the last year and a half. Just so much money. But to their defense, it's usually these games when everyone discounts them that they end up showing up to. So interesting to see how it'll all play out. But yeah, from a number standpoint, I don't know what Philly does to stop this team. Mullins is a potent arm. He's shown it since he's taken, in his short glimpses as quarterback for this team when Garoppolo's been out. But overall, will be probably a stay off spot for me. If the number climbs big enough, I may just continue to try to lose more money on Philly. But overall, I think the number makes sense. It made sense at 7.5. If it keeps growing, it'll probably make sense to back Philly. Just super tilting to back that team.
All right, yeah, and you're right. The expectation, Brett, is that Hoyer's going to start. That's the expectation. So I don't know what the big difference is there. Maybe Hoyer's not going to turn the ball over as much, but whatever. I got to get to the other side with JSU on Run Pure Sports side. If you don't already have your sub to Run Pure Bets, I don't know what you're doing. At the very least, my God, if you bought the $20 1 week sub and you played college football yesterday, you would have gone 6-0. It's amazing. Did you guys do that?
Yeah, it was a good day. It was a good day in the college football sports.
All right. Well, it better be a good day in the NFL, or like, you suck, you're awful. What do you do? Okay, great. Love that part of the job.
But yeah, always fun doing these shows with you, Holden. Thanks everybody for popping in. Again, the best bet I gave out was the under 43.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, under 43. Bears Colts, and Holden, you gave out the over James Robinson rushing receiving.
Yeah, 80. I got in at 80.5. Later in the week, I saw it at 70.5 on DraftKings, 78.5. I love both of those. I would feel really comfortable. I know the 87.5. I don't love that, but I did have his prop set around 90.5. So if you want to go that way, fine. Go shop around. Try and find a better odd. I can't imagine that's where it is everywhere. So we're out. Say goodbye, JJ. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, guys, like the video. If you didn't, I hope someone takes a shit in your mailbox. Other than that, other than that, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. Have a good day today. Good luck with all your bets. And then again, if you're not already, join us at Run Pure for the live show today, and head over to prizepicks.com, code PURE for free 100% deposit match up to $100. Okay, thanks guys. We're out. Enjoy your week and stay safe.